Hello and welcome again to Forgotten Temples with myself, Mr. B. Now have a look at your screen. Have a look as to how this temple is framed. You see the boughs of the tree here and the boughs of the tree on the other side. They're like two mighty arms that are hugging this ancient site, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. It goes to display how very well the Thais do look after their ancient sites. And for me, it's a very welcome sight because I have been on the road for day after day, and the truth is I am very much worn out. But when you see sites like this, it truly does lift you. But what is it that we have here? Because we have something very different. Yet again, look as to what nature has done to amplify the beauty of this temple with these boughs of these trees. But I'm actually coming from the entranceway. Now I said that this temple is a trifle different, and it is. Because yes, this is a temple, but it was only part of a much bigger complex. Because around this was large wooden buildings. And what those buildings were is in fact a nursing home. Quite incredible. Jayavarman VII in this area has built many utilitarian buildings. So there's a motel that I visited. Yes, really, 1,000-year-old motel in the truest sense of the word. Not hotel, but motel. There is hospitals that I have seen, and now I come round the corner and I discover to my surprise this, a nursing home. But the question is, why? Why are these buildings, which are very much built for the people and moving away from the gods in some ways, being built? Well, it's very simple. When King Jayavarman moved over to Buddhism, he embraced the ethos of it, which was very much more to care for the people. And he moved away from building these gigantic temples like Angkor Wat and said what we should do is bring it back down and make it more useful. And that is exactly what he did with this building. I have just looked up the average cost of a nursing home in America. And quite incredibly, it's nearly $100,000 a year. And we're walking towards an ancient one, which I know was for free. But as I say, this was actually the religious part of that home. Around it would have been those wooden buildings as mentioned. Now, the last time I walked through here, there is an absolute blizzard of small flies. Can you see them on the screen? I am already completely covered in them. What these little flies are, can you see them? I mean, a total blizzard is, Jesus Christ, they are living in the tiny holes here, and you can see them all over my arms. I've never seen that before. I don't know what they are. They must be in some sort of breeding phase of their life. And they are just beginning their life. But this was constructed for those that were departing it. And I say departing it because I am taking the term nursing home quite literally. For that is how it is described. But it could well be that this was a long-term care home for those that needed it. So for the hospitals I have visited, that would be for immediate care, and then these buildings would have been for a more long-term care. But it would have also incorporated the elderly to some extent. Now, what they would have received here is two levels of care. The first being medical, of course, to help wounds, to help ailments, to help, I don't know, the wears and the stresses of old age. But then there was the second level of care, one we don't have so much in the modern world. And what that is the religious aspect. And that is why this building is here. For it is in here that a mighty God dwelled. With the medical side of things and the religious side of things, they were brought together to make one. And that was to deliver a much more potent recipe for recovery. After all, you must never ever underestimate the power of the mind to help you, especially when you're ill. If you believe you're feeling better, then it has an enormous effect. Please look up the effect of placebos administered to seriously ill people, and the numbers are quite staggering. And in here, the inner sanctum is where the God stood. And it was this God that would look benevolently down amongst those ailing patients and would answer their prayers. And in this back wall, can you see here, there's a deep recess, and it stretches all the way up here. And this recess tells us quite the story, because why would you build it if you weren't going to use it? And keep in mind, these guys were expert engineers. This extra labour to build this recess was for a purpose. Now, if I put my hand all the way up, just to the top of the screen, there's another 30%. So add on from my waist to my head yet again, and that's how tall this is. So that to me gives a very clear indicator as to how large the statue of the god was, and that in turn denotes its importance. So what we have at this nursing home isn't just a dedication to medicine, which would have been harvested from all over, not just the country, but as far away as India and what is now modern day China, because medicine information was being traded throughout the empire and its trading partners. So we have excellent medicine from far and wide, and then we had the religious aspect. And if this recess did hold one mighty, mighty statue, it will only show how very important that was, to have the medicine and the religion combining as one. Well, it's been an incredible sight, and I very much hope that you've enjoyed this little trip round an ancient wonder that's far away in a mystical land. And if by chance you can help me to build up a library of sites such as this that are often neglected and ignored, then I would be truly grateful. And how you do that is you go to www.patreon.com/temples. As simple as that. So until next time, I wish you absolutely nothing but, of course, the very best. You be sure to take good care.